What's up, guys? Welcome to the first episode of the That's What Shay Said podcast. I'm your host, Carly Shay, and I'm so freaking excited to be here filming this today. I hope this podcast brings you joy and hopefully provides a deeper look into the entertainment world. I'd like to go ahead and welcome our special guests and my friends, Chris and Matt from the YouTube channel 307 Reacts. Are y'all here?
Yeah, what's up, everybody? I'm Matt. That's Chris. How's it going?
It sounded like the exact same voice that said I'm Matt and Chris, so I don't know which one's which at this point.
That's okay.
Oh, it was the same voice that said Matt and Chris.
Yeah. Oh. Well then,
yeah.
Sweet. All right, I'm not going crazy.
That's
Well, thank you guys seriously so much for being here. When I decided to do this podcast, you were the first people I thought of. I was like, you have to be my first guest. So thank you for making that happen.
Well, we appreciate you saying, like, hopefully everybody gets a deeper dive into the entertainment thing. I appreciate that for as much as it is, but I'm not sure how, we hope to be
Water real shallow around here, okay?
Yeah.
Well, we'll do our best.
Yeah.
But I'll change that out. I just hope we have a fun podcast. That's all we can hope for. But shout out to everybody who's here live with us. We are filming this as a podcast, but we're filming this live. And I just want to thank everybody for tuning in to hang out with us. And Chris, I see your mom's in chat. Hi, Mama Melody.
Yeah.
I love that. Boys are a little low volume wise. Let me fix that.
All right. I was gonna say we can fix it on our end.
We have a little more gain on our end also.
Oh,
if you need
that's
us to,
better.
Carly.
Okay, great.
Yeah, let us know.
Okay, yeah, chat. Thank you for letting us know. Your mom's on it, Chris. Man,
Oh yeah.
she should have her
She's
own
always-
channel.
Well, she's used
She
to being
does.
on our live streams where we literally have to ask everybody how to adjust our stuff because we never know. So we just get usually the first 5 to 10 minutes of any of our lives. We're like, okay, what do we need to do? Who needs to come up? Who needs to go
Does
down?
everything
Like-
look fine?
I love
Is the
that.
sound situated correctly?
Yeah,
Does
yeah.
Matt come in on your left side? Do I come in on the right?
I
Like,
Yeah.
love that. Well, I mean, nobody shows up for the first, like 5-10 minutes anyways, so that's the perfect time to fix all of the issues.
And for the ones that do, they get a little bit into how we
Yeah,
set
some
everything
realistic
up,
see, we are diving into what it's like in the entertainment world, the realistic sides of streaming. And streaming's hard, man. It's not easy. So for anybody who is new to you guys, tell me what your channel is about. What do you guys do? Who are you?
Dude, that's you. You gotta do that.
oh,
one.
that is a whole
This is
thing.
your brainchild, man.
So as far as the reaction channel go, like I've been watching. I stumbled across. I think like the very first reaction channel I ever watched was Simba TV, and I was like taking a super deep dive into Upchurch, and he was doing a ton of his videos, and I was like, yeah, dude, this is kind of cool. Like, you just get online, and you get to look at a song and share your like kind of view or interpretation of a song, which you don't normally get to do. Typically when somebody listens to music, they kind of take what that music means to them and hold on to that, and they don't really share it, if that makes sense. Whereas reactors kind of share their thing, and then you create a discussion down in the comments where somebody's like, oh, well, that's not what they meant by that. And like, sure, maybe it's not, but then you get to hear that person's perspective, and then somebody else has a different thought about the song. And so I just thought it was a really cool thing, like from the get-go. And it was something I've always just wanted to do, because there's a lot of artists out there that are, I mean, at the time, Upchurch was kind of an underrated artist. Like, he needed more.
I feel like he's still underrated, honestly.
Oh, for real.
Fair
I mean,
enough, yeah.
he does have that, like, arena, though. He's selling out arenas now, so, like, he's on his way up.
He's killing it for sure.
But it was one of those things, like, I wanted to start one when I was living in Washington State, and it just never worked out for me. And so when I moved back, I come over to my cousin's house, and she's dating this guy named Matt, okay? And I walk into a studio, I'm like, oh, this is the guy, okay? He's got all the gear. I know how this stuff, I know how the whole reaction thing works, that we're going to partner together and do this thing.
This was my follow-up question. How did you guys meet? I never knew, and how long you guys had known each other.
There's a long answer and a short answer to that. The short answer is really easy. 2008 Subaru WRX.
Oh,
And then the long
Yeah.
answer is, kind of based around that whole thing. Me finding out that it was my girlfriend's cousin and that he's a mechanic and he can help me out with this kind of stuff.
Well, and it was crazy because we crossed paths like 10 years ago.
Yeah.
Or close to like anywhere between 7 to 10 years ago,
wow.
and we didn't even know.
Wow.
Because I was booking a show for a band in Spokane when I was living there.
Wow.
And my cousin's like, oh, I know this guy. He's in records, and check out their stuff. You should book them a show. They're kind of coming up that way. And I was like, okay. So I messaged him, and I think I was talking to Matt. It was either Matt or Alex.
Probably. It was probably me or Brandon, honestly.
Oh, okay. So I was like, hey, so you guys want to come play a show? That's cool. You're from out of town. You're from Wyoming. That's dope. I love that. I said, do you guys have an EP put together? Well, no, kind of, but like it's not printed out on CDs yet or anything. I was like, okay, do you guys have merch? Well, we're working on it. And I was like, look, dude, if you want to play a show here and come travel through, it just makes sense that you have all those things. Like, there's no point in traveling if you don't.
Right.
And he was like, well, okay. And then that was the last time I ever heard from him until I moved here. And it wasn't until after working with each other on this car he had.
Jesus.
Oh, my God, that thing was a pile.
God, dude.
Oh,
But
boy.
we worked on that car, and it wasn't until we were working on that car for about a month or two that we kind of like, oh, wait, dude, that was you. That was,
Yeah.
Oh,
okay, yeah. And then we
wow.
kind of made that connection
You
where
went
we had
full
crossed paths
circle.
before. But
Mhm.
yeah.
Wow.
And then, ironically enough, we actually ended up playing a show with the same band that was on tour that Chris
Yeah.
went
Oh my
through
gosh.
Spokane. We actually ended up playing the same tour. So, like,
Yeah,
yeah,
it's
weird
crazy.
small world kind of shit. Like, we were always kind
Absolutely.
of in the circle, but, like, didn't really know each other. So, yeah, kind of a
Yeah.
weird thing.
Wow, who
And
knew
here we are.
years later you would end up
Yeah.
having a successful YouTube channel together?
A couple
That's
years later,
pretty
and what,
cool.
500 episodes or whatever it
Yeah.
is. now.
Wow,
God.
that's
something.
awesome. So for the viewers or listeners, how long have you guys been doing YouTube?
Just over a year. Our 1 year was February 12th, if I remember correctly.
yeah, it's like a year and a half, I
Wow.
guess,
Yeah.
at this
and,
point.
and you guys are almost to 25,000 subscribers. That is
Yeah.
amazing. Wow,
Thank you.
that's awesome.
Yeah, I'm a little blown away myself.
It's kind of weird. Kinda
yeah,
weird.
yeah, I get it. It's
Like, who
it's
let
weird.
us just do this?
I feel the
Well, no-
same way. I'm like, who gave me a microphone and a camera and let me go be on the internet?
And that was the whole thing when Chris first came over and brought this idea. Like, I had a studio, I was recording music and doing that thing, and he goes, all right, let's do this. We're going to do this thing. We're going to, like, do reactions to videos on the internet. And I'm just like, we're going to what? I had never seen a reaction video. I didn't know what it was.
I was wondering
I didn't
who was the brains behind this idea.
know, it was definitely a Chris thing, yeah.
We have a viewer asking whose idea was the whole YouTube thing, but there we go. It was Chris. Good.
Chris
Well
basically
done.
came over and was like, we're gonna do these episodes, and even in our first recording, I still, like, if you go back and watch our very first episode, I'm just lost throughout the whole thing. Like, I thought we were doing all 3 episodes in one video. I didn't know we were doing 3 separate episodes in one night. You know what I mean? Like, I was so lost on the entire thing.
Oh, I
And
love
basically,
that.
Chris was just like, come in, run the controls, make the microphones work, do all the
Just
audio and
sit
camera
down
stuff,
and look pretty.
and we'll get it from there. Yeah. And then here we are a few years
Yeah.
later.
Wow.
It's been a crazy ride. Like, I've learned so much. Matt's learned a ton. And, a lot of this, and the funny thing is people will look at the YouTube channel, which, I mean, my TikTok has had more followers, but I wouldn't say it has the same success.
It's
there's
very
a difference.
different.
Yeah,
for sure.
there's a difference between just having a number and having a community. And I feel like
Absolutely.
TikTok was just kind of a number. Like, there was maybe 5 people out of 86,000 that were like super good people, always show up. Anything you do, they're gonna be there. YouTube has just been wild. I mean, there's so many people, I can't even name them off hardly anymore, where it's just, anytime we go live, anytime we do something, they're there, they're always there. And
It's
you
a
know,
loyal
it's
community.
been different. Yeah.
Well,
Yeah,
and-
the YouTube community runs deep for sure. It's cool.
Well, I feel like that's the difference between YouTube and other platforms, especially TikTok. When you bring up
Yeah.
TikTok, TikTok is such a quick growth platform that you don't really have
Oh, for
time to
sure.
build up a relationship with your community. It's just kind of like
For sure.
And I feel like with YouTube, when you do build up that community, they're just there for you, man. It's something
Yeah.
else. It's like a family.
Yeah, and it's weird. It's you know, it's it's so hard to explain what it is because like when you look at it at a surface level, a lot of people go, okay, well you put out this content and you gain these followers. It's like, well, in reality, you put out the content and whoever shows up shows up. Like you can't do anything to
Right.
make somebody see something or whatever. So like the fact that 24 some thousand people have come on board to support what we're doing regardless of whether we put a video up or not just blows me away.
That's amazing. Can you imagine like standing on a stage and looking out and seeing 24,000 people? Like literally sitting in their
Crazy.
chairs wanting to hear what you have to say.
Yeah, I think about that sometimes. You know, like we're both musicians, so we've been on stages
Yeah, of course.
basically our whole lives, right? And you think about that. You think about like the biggest shows that you've played. You know, biggest show I've played is maybe I don't know, maybe 1,000, something like that, somewhere in that, maybe a little more, maybe
Wow.
I don't know, maybe between 1 and 2K. But yeah, like you said, Carly, like standing in front of 10 times that amount is like
Yeah,
I couldn't.
and I mean at my graduation I got to perform and that was
Oh,
I
wow.
think just shy of 9,000 people there.
And that
Wow.
even then, you're still
Even
talking like
then,
double
dude,
that,
I'm like,
almost triple that. You know.
Oh my
I
gosh.
almost peed myself.
Yeah, I don't blame you. I probably wouldn't have been able to get up on the stage. So I know you guys mostly as reactors because that's how I met you. But as far as I know, music is super deep with you guys as musicians. I'm curious, like I don't really know what your musician lifestyle's like. Like I didn't know you guys performed on stages. Like tell me a bit about that.
You first, man. Wanna go first?
A lot of that has since kind of it. Not that music itself has gone towards the wayside, but as far as like playing stages and playing shows and putting together EPs and stuff, and it's when you want to play in a rock band or a map, typically ran in the punk scene.
Yep.
But like if you're gonna play rock and punk, typically you can't just go up there and do everything by yourself. You have to have a group of people you work with. Well, the unfortunate thing is that a lot of people have different rates of work ethic, and
That's a very
yes,
diplomatic way to put it.
Yes, that was very well put.
they're lazy as hell is what I'm getting.
There
at.
you go.
There we go.
And,
Can you dumb it down for us a little bit here?
Yeah, right. And I mean, just it's so hard to get people to see a vision of what you have moving forward. I mean, the best I played in several bands. The best band I ever played in was Insidia. And I mean, we got to open for like Breaking Benjamin and Chelsea Grin
Oh,
and Motionless in
wow.
Flight, and like we played. I mean, I think the biggest show that we played was probably Snoqualmie Casino, and then the second biggest was oh god, come on, feel the noise. I'm blanking
Quiet
on the
Riot,
band
bro.
name. Yeah, Quiet Riot. There we go.
And that's
Oh,
another one,
wow.
small circles thing. Like my band played for Quiet Riot, probably again
probably on the same
that
tour.
same tour when
Yeah.
they went from
Oh my
Spokane down to
gosh.
Wyoming. Like,
So you guys
and
were
we-
just
me and Chris
meant
had-
to meet.
yeah, we had no idea each other even existed at that point. Like this was
Yeah.
early, so like yeah, crazy.
But I mean, it was one of those things where people started fighting over money, and people thought that, you know, and I will say that was the hardest working band. I mean, when we came in, we practiced 20 hours a week. We worked full-time jobs. We'd come in 2 to 3 times a week and just practice and songwrite and practice. And we eventually got a knock on the door because we had a shed that we played in. We got a knock on the door from the sheriff, and we got served a paper saying that we were no longer allowed to play within residential city limits.
Oh my gosh, that's like some Footloose type situation going on.
It was kind of crazy. We had some problems for a while, but
Wow.
but we ended up finding an old guy who had an abandoned auto shop just outside of town.
Oh
And so we
wow.
lugged all of our gear up there, and I mean, we would practice till like 1 or 2 o'clock in the morning or midnight, and I mean, it was something we wanted, and we wanted really bad, and we were only a band for just a little over a year, but it got to the point where people were fighting over money, and you know, the lead
that's
singer slept with
unfortunate.
the drummer's girlfriend. And
Oh,
then
boy,
they
that's
didn't want
some
to show
Oh,
up,
that's always
Rock
fun.
band. Yeah.
right.
Wow.
So I just walked away from it and tried a couple different other bands and just couldn't find anybody that wanted to work as hard. So
That's
I was like, you know
unfortunate.
what? I might just do my own thing and just haven't really done much since. I mean, I've written a little bit here and there, but I haven't put anything out in a long time.
Well, I look forward to that for sure.
And
Wow.
then I mean, like I've just been, when you're in a small town and you do something like that a lot of people don't do. Like I came up as a drummer in a small town in Wyoming. So like when there's bands available in towns like that, they're typically always looking for drummers because they're kind of hard to come by.
Oh,
Like,
that's true in Spokane too.
dude,
Oh,
Yeah, I
wow.
mean, it's crazy.
guitar players in Casper are a dime a dozen, right? Like anyone can play.
Anyone with a
Oh,
pulse will play guitar.
yeah, exactly. And probably can. They're probably pretty good at it. But like you start like getting the other parts of the band assembled, like a good singer is really hard to come by in Casper, like a really good,
Yes.
like dedicated
Wow.
singer who actually wants to practice and not just show up for the, for the stage
Mhm.
spot or whatever.
Yeah, right.
But yeah, so like I've come up playing drums in a lot of bands in Casper. It was just kind of like my dad had a drum set in my room when I was a kid, so it was just kind of always just my thing. And yeah, just I've been in pretty much punk bands. Good Morning Tonight was like the first big punk band that I was in that we
Wow.
played with. We played with like Census Fail. I think was one of our biggest shows. It was Census Fail and Bayside, and a couple others. We played with like the Ataris, and there's on our wall. If you look at our episodes, this wall next to me is all like the bands that I played with. That's Hawthorne Heights
Oh,
over
wow.
here. I don't know what else. Unwritten Law and a couple other ones. But yeah, so just kind of coming up playing music my whole life, just kind of in and out of bands, and then just decided that, like Chris said, you get to a certain point where you start finding out who actually wants to do it and who doesn't. And unfortunately, around here, a lot of people think they want to do it, and they try really
Yeah.
hard for a little while, and then all of a sudden they
Mhm.
realize this is hard, and then they stop doing it. So,
Yeah.
I feel like
so yeah,
that's
go
relatable
ahead,
to a
Sue.
lot of things for sure. I feel like,
Oh yeah.
especially, doing YouTube and stuff like that, so many people want to do it, and then after however long they decide, oh, it's not working, I'm just gonna give up. And
That's it. Yeah, you hit your first speed bump, and a lot of people are like, oh, I'm
Yeah.
done.
yeah, it's
Yeah,
so
and
unfortunate. It's like you just gotta
crazy
keep
thing-
going.
Yeah,
The crazy thing about YouTube is I'll see somebody say, "Oh, I want to start up a channel." Okay, cool.
start it.
So they put out like 2 episodes and like, "Oh, it's not getting any views."
Yeah.
It's like, well, no kidding, huh? Like,
And their
Yeah, you
episodes are
don't
like, I went
say.
on a hike in the mountains and like
Yeah.
looked at a lookout point or something. And it's like,
which I
okay,
mean is cool.
that's
but,
neat,
like,
but it's not like it's not gonna get a billion views. Like that, something like
No.
that is not gonna
Well,
like,
it-
generate views. And
and it has the potential to. The thing is
your
like,
channel doesn't have a following. Like,
yeah, with anything, and I know I've told you this, Carly, where if you're going to introduce somebody new to your channel, or if you have a brand new YouTube channel with 0 content, you can't put out 1 or 2 videos and expect the views to be good. You have to
No.
continue to do the same artist, bring them back up 5 or 6 times in order to actually see a trend that's either a positive or negative trend. So I think for us, our YouTube channel didn't start picking up until like episode 14 or 20. It took quite a
Which
few
is still
until we started
fantastic.
seeing. Yeah, but I mean, we were still like, which was weird because it was about 2 weeks. It felt really fast, but you think about it, it was.
And
it
we're
was a
talking
lot
like
of work.
when he says progress, we're talking like 50 to 100 views. Where we're
Yeah.
like, oh my god, these episodes are actually gaining a little traction. Like, yay, we were all
Isn't
it's,
that first like 100 views on a video the most exciting
oh
thing?
so crazy. Yeah,
I remember just being stoked. I was like just freaking out over having a video with 100 views. That was like, wow, I've made it. Like,
Right?
it's just unreal. But like, I don't know. I don't know if I'll ever feel that excited as I was in that moment to have such a small but significant number of views.
Oh yeah, it's a weird thing. I remember when I had my first TikTok video go, or a TikTok video go, as close to viral as it could. Okay, I think in 3 days I had like 1.3 million views or something,
Wow.
that's
and
crazy.
I was just
That's
like,
insane.
what the, like this is crazy, and like and it's always the stupidest things. I had a video
course.
recently go viral.
Oh, dude.
and-
Oh yes,
one's so funny.
please
But-
share with everybody about this video.
Okay, listen. so this car comes in, motor's blown up. I mean, it's locked up bad. So we called the guy, let him know. He's like, well, you know what? We're just going to take it to the wrecking yard. Like, it's not worth fixing. Okay, cool. So he calls the Crushco is the company, right? And so they go, okay, yeah, we'll come out and get it. Well, their 2 tow trucks that they normally have were broke down. And so they had a third one that was from the 70s. And it's a 70s Ford pickup, but it's got a flatbed on it. And it's got a big round like piece of pipe on the very back edge of where the tailgate would be, right? So this guy grabs some cable off the winch, okay, hooks it up to the front of this car. Now, this car is back behind this truck, just flat on the ground. He hooks this cable up to it and just proceeds to pull it onto his flatbed, like bumpers scraping the back of the truck and then just riding up on the, like, the on the rocker panels, just sliding all the way up. I mean, it was messed up. The rear bumper all dragging the ground and everything. He gets it up on the truck as far as he can get it, and half the car is still hanging off the back of the flatbed. And so he just, go ahead and throw one strap over the top of it, call it a day, and take on off. Well, I took a video of him loading that thing, and
I'm so glad you did.
Oh, how could I not? I'm sitting here watching just a train wreck.
Oh, man.
And come to find out after some research, I talked to a couple guys on TikTok that were like old school mechanics and stuff. And they go, oh, yeah, back in the 70s, that's just how they did it.
So crazy.
And I was like, dude, that's crazy as hell. But, yeah, there's like a guy that I'm kind of friends with on Instagram. He does like automotive, like memes and whatever. He was like, man, do you care if I upload this video? And I was like, you just tag me in it and, make sure people like, as long as my name's in the description, like video provided by whatever, that's fine. You go ahead. And he's like, okay, cool. He uploaded, last time I checked it had 156 million views. I was like, what
on
like,
what platform?
Crazy. On Instagram.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, it was wild. And then there's other pages who have took it and they're sitting at like 22 million, 30 million. There's one at 10.
It was hilarious.
It was something else. It was something else for sure.
Well, and when I'd first seen that video, seeing this guy just totally destroy the undercarriage of this car, I thought that it was somebody's vehicle being towed and not being sent to the dump, which is the funniest part because when it's seen out of context, that is so wrong.
My title might have been a little misleading.
Yeah, that's okay.
Asked for a cheap tow.
Hashtag not clickbait.
Right.
Oh, wow.
I'll have to see if maybe we can. Maybe I can share a link in the chat if people are like totally lost here.
Absolutely, I think people need to see this.
Here, see if you can go to my Instagram there real quick.
We can't. I can't pull Instagram.
It won't do it?
Not on desktop, dude. I'm pretty sure.
Okay, hold on.
Dang technology, I'm tired of it.
If not, you can probably pull it off TikTok too.
I swear.
Instagram does like desktop now. Oh, that's nice.
The dumbest things go viral on TikTok. If we're changing the podcast.
Wild.
How to go viral on TikTok? You post something that you just don't even think about, and that's how it goes viral.
Yeah. I was complaining about a drain plug on a car because it was so stuck.
Oh my gosh.
And
I don't know how to.
It got like 1.2 million views or something. It was ridiculous.
Wow. I love that.
Sure. Copy link.
Where are you? There you are.
So
So yeah, this video that we're gonna post the link.
Just shared it right
there. But like on my Instagram, it didn't do that well. On my TikTok, it blew up.
Isn't it so interesting how like different platforms, one video has the ability to just be totally viral content, but yeah, on another one, it just tanks.
Yeah, it is wild. It is wild. Shay went viral with Megadeth. Yeah, she.
Nice.
Yeah, they posted me on their Instagram. I don't even know what provoked that to happen.
That's cool.
It was it definitely made my day, that's for sure.
So do you know how all of that happened? Like, how did Megadeth come across your reaction? Or was it just kind of one of those like random things?
Yes and no. I got a DM on Instagram from this guy saying, "Oh, I watched your reaction. It was awesome." And I responded, I was like, "Thank you so much. Like, oh shoot, I forgot how it went. But basically, I was he turned out to be the director of of Megadeth's music videos, and
that's dope.
I had no idea. And I asked him like, "Oh, did you work on it?" Because he said that he was kind of like on set for it, and I was like, "Oh, you worked on it?" And he goes, "Yeah, kind of. I was the director." And I was like, "Oh my gosh, like I'm so sorry. Like here I am being an idiot, like asking you if you worked on it." So he's a fantastic guy. I would love to talk to him sometime on the podcast as well. I think like he's just a creative genius. If you've ever seen any of Megadeth's videos.
Oh yeah.
But he had messaged me and said that like my reaction was the best one he'd seen, which I don't know how that happened either. Like, but all right, we'll roll with it, sure. And he just said like, I loved your reaction. It was the best one I'd seen, and we were able to talk and communicate. And he's super great guy. And the next thing I know, like a couple days later, the Megadeth had posted me on their Instagram, and like I looked and I was like, oh, I'm sure they post like reactors all the time, and like. No, they don't have any reactors on their Instagram. It's all just of the band and people on like them on tour and concerts and fans, and then boom, like my reaction, and I'm just like, what the heck, man?
That's awesome.
That's super cool.
Thanks. So the thought of Dave Mustaine possibly knowing me is just kind of like, okay, this is pretty cool.
Right. No,
So
it was a weird thing because like Megadeth is a huge band, and when we went to Struggle Jennings concert, me and Kenna went, and
wow,
the guy was sitting behind the merch booth, and I was like, he kind of looks familiar, but like I don't know. I mean, Struggle has all these guys around him all the time anyway.
Yeah.
Well, I go up there, we're looking at stickers or whatever, and T-shirts and just all their stuffs, and the guy goes, hey man, were you at our last show? I go, no man, this is the first time I've ever seen you guys live. He goes, no kidding. I go, yeah. He goes, I swear to God, I've seen you before.
Oh wow.
I was like, I don't know. I mean, I have a reaction channel. He goes, yeah, 307 React with that other guy, right?
Oh my gosh.
I go, yeah. Come to find out, he shoots and directs a lot of Brianna Harness's videos, and it's also her boyfriend. Bruni Vision. And that was kind of one of those things I didn't put together. I had a whole conversation with this guy, and he didn't mention anything about it until later. I was like, yeah, dude, well, follow me on Instagram, whatever. He was like, okay, cool. So he follows me on Instagram, and I'm thinking he's just some, like, roadie or, like, he knows him, hangs out with him, he's a friend. And then I was like, oh, wait. This is, like, the dude, okay, that makes all these videos happen.
You realize
like, it was
who
crazy.
you're talking to.
Yeah.
That's how it felt with that director. I was like, just
Right?
Not that it changes how we talk to the person, but it's just kind of like, oh shoot, like you're you, like that's kind of cool.
Right. Like I could have had a totally different conversation with the knowledge I now have.
Right. Oh, that's awesome. That is so awesome. So I want to ask you guys, what's your favorite thing about being a YouTuber so far, or a reactor? Like, what's been your favorite thing since starting this journey of YouTube?
I
know, kind of on the spot there.
Wow.
No pressure.
I mean, probably just like the interactions that we've had with people that you would never think, just like on a whim that like you would ever reach out to. I mean, Adam Rupp from Home Free. Like I literally sat down and had a beer with that dude, and got to pick his brain, and like he got us like tickets at will call for at the front of the venue for the show and everything, and
oh my gosh,
just super down to earth dude, and like
sure.
I would never think to meet someone like that,
I felt the same way about Billy Wilkins.
Yeah,
I was like,
we love Billy.
He just messaged me, like it's crazy.
Yeah, and Justin Time, and we've we've talked to Brandon Hart, man.
Brandon Hart's a big one. Yeah,
we were talking earlier.
Like
He's
one of the
best.
nicest dudes in the entire world,
so
and
nice.
like so down to earth, and just like willing to talk to you anytime you want to, and it's just I don't know. I would say just some of the the acquaintances I've made, some of the friends I've made since we've been doing it. I think that's the best thing, and like Chris said at the beginning of the podcast, the people that show up no matter where we go. We have this following of people now that no matter what we do, they're going to show up. It doesn't matter.
That's
we
amazing.
could turn on the camera and just sit there
You
eat a
watch
bowl of
paint-
cereal and
watch
just
paint
like
dry.
whatever.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
I
which
love
is
that.
essentially what we do on our channel anyways. But they keep coming back, so it's super cool. I like that. What about you,
Wow.
man? What do you think?
I gotta say, I definitely share that sentiment as well. And like one of the things that got me into just posting content to begin with. I mean, I started real heavy with TikTok, but I've had other YouTube channels. I had Disrespectful Builds, which I believe that page is still up. But we did we tried to do the automotive content, and I'll tell you this: if you're somebody who wants to do automotive content, you better have some money put away and a lot of patience, okay? Because
And like get ready for editing.
oh
Like,
yeah,
Oh,
the
boy.
editing. There's
that kind of content takes so much editing, man.
because here's the thing: you got to take 6 to 12 to we did a motor. We rebuilt a motor in a Ford pickup,
Oh,
which took us
jeez.
close to 27 hours. So you have 27
Oh
hours worth
my
of footage that you have to condense into
days.
20 to 30-minute video. Like,
Yeah.
so I mean, it's a definitely tedious thing, and it just wasn't worth it for me to continue doing it. But one of the things that got me into it is understanding how people work and why people like the things they like and why they don't like the things they like. And TikTok was a really good learning tool for me when I was doing automotive content, because it was very quick. Like, okay, so yeah, part of it's their attention span, which like everybody knows that anyway. But it was
Yeah.
like, okay, so this video did better, but why? And you go down to the comments and you kind of find one or two people, and then you start replying to people, and then you get to talk with those people, and then they kind of tell you, like, without you even asking them, man, I really like that you did that step by step. You don't make me feel like an idiot. I mean, it just feels like I'm sitting in a class, and
I
you're
love
showing me
that.
how to do these breaks or
Just
whatever.
being real with them.
Yeah, and so that's kind of been, and I got kind of addicted to that. It just like trying to understand why certain things do better than other things. And the reaction channel number one is always going to be the community and the people we meet, and like that's the part I enjoy the most. But like second has got to be just learning people. I mean, it's like people watching, but it's on a computer screen.
Yeah.
You sit there
I
and
love
kind
that.
of like,
Yeah.
Analytics watching, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
Yes, it's fascinating. I feel like
It
it's
is.
constantly changing too.
Oh yeah, definitely.
I think it always stays the same. It's just the form changes, right? So
That
like,
makes sense.
well, and for instance, we've seen it with TikTok. Now you have Facebook Reels. Now you have Instagram Reels, and like, it's all the same thing. Okay, like people really like that type of platform, but they just call it something else. So like when people are really into rap and then it changes into something else, it's still the same thing that held their attention in rap. It's just wrapped in a different gift now. Like,
Right. That
so
makes sense.
that's one of the things that I've learned. I mean, there's a lot of stuff that I've learned that I wouldn't even know how to articulate. It's just like there's that one thing that like people do in music that like just people really latch onto. And like if you go through all of, well, we were talking about Billy Wilkins on the channel the other day. He'll never end on a resolving chord.
Yeah.
He never
Oh,
will.
wow.
And it's because he
holds
wants
tension.
people wanting more.
Yeah.
And he leaves tension there
Because-
because the
Oh,
music
I
just
love
kind of
that.
hangs out. And so you want to get to the next one and the next
People's
one.
natural subconscious is to land on the major
Wow.
note, land on the root note of whatever he's doing. So he'll often land on the second or third note in whatever progression or chord that he's working in, and it leaves this weird like looming kind of feeling at the end of a lot of his stuff, and it kind of gives you this like, all right, land it, and he never does, so you stick around for long. It's like a weird psychological
yes,
thing.
there's so
Yeah.
much psychology, and I didn't even think about that with music like that. I know with creating content, we have to keep a lot of psychology in mind. Like, people's attention spans nowadays are
Definitely.
so short that it's like you're lucky if you get somebody to even click on your video for longer than 10 seconds. And there's
Definitely.
just so much psychology around that. That's fascinating. Wow.
For sure.
I had no idea.
It's crazy because like we were talking about it on. I wish I could remember. Do you remember which episode it was that we were talking about that, Matt?
Was it Harry Mack in the disassociation episode?
Ooh.
The neuroscientist?
That might have been the episode. Yeah.
Oh,
I
we
can't
love some
remember.
Harry
Neurologist,
Mack.
not neuroscientist, neurologist.
Yeah, neurologist.
Well, I don't know what the
Yeah.
difference. They're both scientists. So anyway.
They both learned us on some things.
Yeah, exactly.
So
Yeah,
we,
but it was one of those things that were like, yeah, so if you're in a band, you want to do that live, okay? Whatever your song
Wow.
ends on the album, right? So if you have a song that goes from a G chord to a D chord to an E minor to a C, which is your standard 4 chords, that's like what everybody starts learning.
Yeah, yeah.
Is those 4 chords. You would normally land back on G because that's your first, and you would end the note or end the song on that G chord because that's what it started with. Well, instead you would go G to D to E minor to C, and then back to maybe D,
Or
or
an E
just
minor.
hang on the C or an E minor. You
Wow.
never go back to the G because then it
Forget
leaves them
that
kind of
G.
like
Forget that G.
G
it
gone.
feels like you're about to kind of fall off a cliff, and then the next song comes in and catches them. Like,
Wow, that's
But,
fascinating. See, that just reminds me there's so much I don't know that I don't even not know, you know? Like that's my
and
favorite
once
thing.
once you know them, you can't stop seeing it. Like next time
Wow.
you react to a Billy Wilkins video, think about this conversation. You know, be like,
Aaron nailed it
Dude.
right there. It doesn't resolve. That's the whole
Yeah.
thing. Yeah, it's like
Wow.
it doesn't resolve.
That's crazy. That's amazing.
And your subconscious wants it to go root note, root note, root
Right,
note. But it,
right.
but it
Like
doesn't.
you're craving it and waiting for it.
Yeah.
That's fantastic. Wow, I'm mind blown right now. I'm gonna have to go listen to some Billy Wilkins after this.
It's a really easy example to
Yeah.
figure out like what we're talking about for sure. He's really good at it.
And he
Wow.
doesn't necessarily do it on his albums. Like during
No.
the
Mhm.
albums, you leave them the way they are. But
Yep.
it's during his Omegle stuff, like for sure,
Mhm.
100%.
And it just sounds really cool. It's almost like a jazzy way to kind of end it also, you know. It's just
Right.
it's not like what you would expect. It's kind of a different way, which again keeps your interest, you know, that kind of
Yeah,
a
I
thing.
love that. You gotta plot twist them a bit.
Yeah.
That's great.
Oh yeah.
So we have a friend asking, what was your favorite reaction or one that
I
just
saw-
stands out on your mind? I know
saw that
that's
coming
as
through
a
the chat and I've been
reactor
thinking about it. I have no idea.
myself. I people ask me all the time. They're like, "Oh, what's your favorite song or what's your favorite artist?" And I'm like, "That's like
That's a
that's
tough
an
one, though.
impossible question." Okay, well I'll take the pressure off a little bit. What's a reaction or an artist or a band or anything that you just really have enjoyed reacting to? Like it doesn't have to be your favorite. It just
I know mine, dude.
what
Mine's
comes to
easy.
mind.
I feel like for me anyway, it changes every month. Like if you
Yes.
go back and watch our channel, you'll notice you're like, man, this month they hit a lot of Billy Wilkins and a
Yeah.
lot of Harry Mack.
We love
like,
them.
so like it's I don't know. For me, it changed. I'll have to think of probably as far as my top artist to just like listen to
Mhm.
and not react to. It's got to be Ryan Upchurch, just because
Oh, we love the church.
he's
man.
inspired me to do like a lot of this stuff. Just
Aw.
watching him do the things that he does. But as
Wow.
far as a favorite reaction, I don't know. I'm gonna let Matt go here.
Dude,
You're on, Matt.
When you ask like what comes to mind right away when you think of your favorite reactions or things, I mean Stephen He is just like
Oh my gosh.
every time he's on the screen, I
yes.
know I'm in for a good time. You know, I know I'm gonna
come back.
Stephen He.
Steve, what
And,
the hell?
Yeah, what the hell? No, I just always know. And like for instance, our last video that we posted of his, it was like the when your actors aren't when your B-roll actors aren't doing the right thing or something. I can't remember what it was.
Oh my
But
gosh.
He keeps coming in from the side of screen doing different stuff in the background, and I don't know what it is about it, man, but I was like rolling on the
Oh,
floor.
Oh,
die.
that's
It's
such
just
a good
his
laugh.
weird way of just his comedic sense.
Yeah.
It gets me. It's perfect.
I believe
He
here, if you
is.
minimize that or move it over, we can tell them what day that episode's coming out.
Oh, have we not released that
It
one?
is not released.
Oh, it's not even released
Ooh,
yet.
I want to
Okay.
see y'all cracking
That
up
is-
to Stephen He.
It is
Today's. It's today's.
Yes, today's episode.
Oh, it was supposed to be today's. I should do an upload.
You guys
I
need
should
to get your
upload that.
content going. What's up?
Well,
No
shit, while
days
we're doing
off.
This, I guess I'll do an upload really quick while we're doing this.
I love it. Multitask. There we go.
So, anyways, that episode's coming out today. Look for it in about an hour or so.
Sweet. That's awesome.
But yeah, it was when you ask your extras to act
To act normal. Yeah, that's what it was.
Oh gosh.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Okay, I love because I've worked on a couple different sets, but I love watching extras now, and I now know to pay attention to them, and it is just the funniest thing ever. Like if you're next time you're watching a show, to everybody, watch the extras and just you get to enjoy a whole different form of entertainment there. All right.
I actually noticed that a dead body in a movie the other day.
Hold on, wait. Should we do this upload because this might screw with our connection speed?
Well, we'll just wait until it's over.
All right, I'm gonna cancel this then.
Wait, you saw a dead body? Excuse me?
Yeah. So
Can you explain, please?
In a movie, this guy, right? He dies and like falls out of this window. And then the assassin that killed him gets this cab driver, right? He's kind of looped him into the deal. And I don't know what movie it was. I came in the middle of it. My dad was watching it. And he goes, yeah, you're going to grab his arms and we're going to put him in the trunk. He's like, no, man, no, I can't, So the guy's like, no, dude, you're going to help me or you getting in the trunk too. And the guy's like, okay. So he grabs his arms. And if you notice in one clip, the dead guy is actually locked onto and grabbing the other actor's arm. And so you can see his hand, white knuckles, coming through, just holding on for dear life, don't drop me in this alley.
Oh my gosh. I love catching stuff like that. That's amazing. There was, I was watching the show Psych a couple days ago, and
I love that show.
It's so good. It's just a wholesome show. I recommend it.
Oh, yeah.
But I was watching and there was again a dead body and he was laying on the couch and I look and you can see this man breathing and I'm just like, did nobody tell this actor who's playing a dead body, dude, you gotta hold your breath for your 4-second clip of you, just hold your breath, man.
Right.
So that kind of ruined it for me, but it was so great.
I almost forgot about that show. For Christmas a couple years ago, my brother got me the complete DVD set with all the seasons, and then it had a couple extras and stuff in there. But man, the way Sean introduces Gus when they meet new people.
Each different name each time.
Yeah. Tin Can Sam,
yeah,
so
it just makes them all up. It's a great show. I love it. I love Psych.
Yeah,
I feel like that's another underrated entertainment is Psych. For sure. So I wanted to ask you guys, as far as the channel, what is your goal for the channel? Even I was gonna say for the next 5 years, but just in general, what is your goal with this channel?
Let me pull up the email that we sent to Sweetwater, and you can just read that, and that'll they asked us the exact same thing.
Oh my gosh. I love that. I just recently learned what Sweetwater was. I had no idea what that was until very recently.
Oh yeah, fantastic company for sure.
Yeah, I've been using Sweetwater
not sponsored yet.
Nope, not sponsored at all.
We're not but we could be. Hey Sweetwater, what y'all doing? You're missing out.
No, Sweetwater, we've used them. I mean, back when I was in bands, when we had to order cables or whatever, we had something that they didn't have in town, we would order from them. And they've always just had it, and it was funny because I said it in a video one time, and I don't know if maybe my mom just wasn't listening. No, she's in the chat. She's gonna kill me. But she's like, no, I ordered a little microphone for my desk, and I ordered it, and about 10 minutes after my order, they called me, and it was like a real person. It wasn't like like AI or anything, and just asked me if I had any questions or.
Oh dang, when
they're
on it.
Up if there's, and they're like that. As soon as you make an order, if it's a reasonable hour, okay. I mean, if you order something at 10 o'clock at night, you probably won't get a call. But
I expect a call.
Right. But if you you order something, they'll give you a call, and then they get a notification saying the package was delivered. And they'll give you a call to make sure the package showed up okay.
Wow.
And they always throw in candy with your order. You always get a free bag of candy and a sticker. And
you know what? I'm going to clip this and email this to them and be like, if you guys don't sponsor these two right now, I swear.
Actually, I don't know, you probably haven't heard, but we actually are official affiliates with Sweetwater.
Wow, that's
we just found out a few days ago.
Congratulations. Oh my gosh,
we just did our inaugural post yesterday about it. So
wow. Well, that's
we got
awesome.
it. We're there. Yeah, we're not on their payroll or anything. It's not a full-on sponsorship, but if you go to their website, we can give people links to buy stuff, and if they click those links, then we get kickbacks from the sales and things like that.
I'm gonna need that link because
we got you.
I got a lot of music stuff I need.
Perfect. Anything you need, let us know.
Oh, absolutely. Sweet. Yeah. People listening too can go check out that.
Yeah,
A sub recently. So how I learned about
Mm.
Sweetwater is a subscriber friend sent me a brand new amp for my bass because I
Nice.
started
Oh,
learning
yeah.
bass, and he saw that I was playing off just this junky little $20 amp that I bought off Craigslist from somebody, and he was like, "This is killing me." And he's actually he's in chat right now. So shout out to
Oh,
Jax.
I
Thank
see.
you for the amp.
JC.
Yes,
Yeah.
yeah. So yeah, so that's how I learned of Sweetwater, and I've been
Nice.
playing with the amp, and it's fantastic. So I'm fully on board with them too. That's great.
Oh yeah, no, they're super cool. We were we were kind of like we actually I don't know if the video today will have me and Matt made a little ad for it, right, to just put into our videos like a little.
Did you put it in this one?
I did.
Okay. All
I
right.
did.
I love
So
it.
the video that'll come out tonight, we were super excited. It's not the best ad,
It's kind of
but
cheesy, but whatever.
but it's
That's
a decent
okay.
ad. Okay, it gets the point across.
Yeah.
But we were sitting there trying to think about, okay, what do we want to say? Like, what are the important things that we need to get across in this ad to make sure that like everybody goes in informed and knowing what they're getting, right?
Right.
And Matt's all sitting there. He goes, "Well, I mean, they got Doris from accounting back there just packing bags full of candy."
Oh my gosh.
He goes, "Every bag of candy sealed with a kiss."
It
Yes,
did.
from Doris.
It did come with candy. I totally forgot.
do,
Now that
yep.
you say that, I was so curious. I was like, did they
Like
mean to
this.
put that in there? Like, why did I get candy with this amp? Like,
Yep.
that's
Every order,
awesome.
they just throw in a free bag of candy.
And it's titled Sweetwater. Wow. All right,
Yes.
full circle. I'm here now. I'm here. Wow. Well, that's awesome. I'm very excited for you guys.
Thank you.
Um,
It's exciting for us. It's a really, really crazy thing. I've
Yeah.
since we started the channel, I've sent out a handful of emails to just different companies, like, hey, we use your products and it would be cool if, like we have a couple broken products. Can we send them to you and you can send us replay? And I've basically just gotten back a bunch of, hey, thanks for the interest. We're not really doing that right now. And I'm like,
Yeah,
okay.
yeah.
And so I was totally expecting
Fair.
that with Sweetwater. And surprisingly enough, the guy that messaged me back was like, hey man, so thanks for the info, and like started out as a typical rejection letter.
Right.
And reading through it, he was like, yeah, so like, and asked us like, I'm interested in the content, like what's your guys' future plans with the channel, and then leads into what this whole thing started, which Chris is going to explain to you, but like that's
Oh,
kind of
yeah,
where this whole thing jumped off from.
I'm like a politician. I just avoid the
I know.
question.
Yes. Yeah. That's okay. That's what podcasts are for, man. You
Oh
just-
gosh.
No, I love it.
No, the overall goal of the channel is just to keep going. Like whether we grow or we don't,
Yeah.
it's not up to us. You know what I
Right.
mean? It's all up to those who view the content, and it's once again, it's one of those weird things. But we're the goal is just keep doing what we're doing. We have an independent record label that we're currently working on building.
Yes, that was my follow-up. I wanted to know, what kind of inspired that, and how are you guys with that, and kind of fill anybody else in who's not as familiar with that.
Yeah, so the biggest jeez. Matt's over here making a thumbnail real quick, and I'm looking at pictures of Stephen Heath.
Yeah, that's why I'm not
Oh
chiming
my
in much, but I'm working on the thumbnail.
That's
yeah.
okay.
And
I
I'm
love it.
literally on
That's
Google
funny.
pulling images of Stephen He right now. So
Oh, we love Stephen
But
Heath.
oh gosh, where was I at? Oh, okay, yeah. So as far as YouTube, the best advice I've ever been given, as far as a YouTuber, even a guy was talking to me in the context of TikTok, right? Because I was making okay money at TikTok, but
That's
wasn't
awesome.
enough to live on for sure.
Mhm.
But he goes, it's cool. He's like, but don't quit your day job, because being a mechanic, there's always going to be somebody that needs a car fixed.
Absolutely.
He goes,
It's me.
whatever's
It's always me.
right. He's like, internet trends change, people get canceled. I mean, literally anything could happen.
Yeah.
And so I was like, you're right, but like, I'm not sure that I want to wrench when I'm 50. Like, I gotta have something else. And so the record label is kind of our step towards the long game of having something that we've built that will, when I'm 70, I can still be helping artists record music and shoot
Right.
videos. And I mean, it doesn't require a whole lot of, lifting transmissions or anything
Yeah,
Oh,
crazy
yeah.
like
engines
that.
out.
So, the long game is the record label for sure. But to have like a YouTube channel, which is basically a billboard for what it is you do and who you are, you kind
Absolutely.
of use that as a jumping off point, but it's not like the
End all be all.
yeah,
Right.
like the YouTube channel will always be a reaction channel. Like
Yeah.
it'll never be just oh hey, look at what we put out this week as far as music, or this week as far as music, or this week. It's like, okay, we'll put one or two of those a year, maybe three or four, but
Hmm.
it's always going to be a reaction channel, and the record label's always going to be a separate thing. But like just having the two work together seems to just make sense.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. I love that. That's really smart. Because I always think about like, hey, if YouTube is just deleted tomorrow, like, what do
And
you
it could
get?
be,
What do you? Yeah, absolutely. Anything can happen. And I mean that has happened for me. My channel got hacked and deleted,
Oh
and
yeah,
my
that's
whole world
crazy.
flipped upside
Hmm.
down. And you got to decide like, okay, and that's what I love, and I've lately grown to appreciate about YouTube is I feel like even with this podcast, like I feel like the channel itself has opened so many doors and opportunities. And
Mm.
after years of watching music videos, I'm, interested in like maybe one day I can direct music videos. And thanks to
Yeah.
the channel, like that's an opportunity now. Like there's just
Hmm.
Definitely.
so many streams that and doors that can be open thanks to it. And, same with you guys as well.
Oh yeah, no, for sure.
Yeah, and even like at some point, we've talked about being kind of like the local sponsor for musical events that come through town. Like we've got a big like public stage that gets used here a lot. It's like an outdoor public stage that gets used a lot in the summer, and oftentimes the city will host those events. It would be really cool to be like, the city of Casper in conjunction with like 307 Reacts or
Wow.
Snapback Records or whatever we decide,
Mm.
we land
Whoever's
on.
sponsoring that episode,
Yeah,
or that
whatever we
that show
decide
that
we're
night.
at that point, then we can be affiliated with that, and then we can handle some of the booking and kind of
Mm.
handle the music side of things that the city's kind of not as aware of, right? So like
Right.
handle the artist booking and handle some venue allocation stuff and
Mm.
some writer things and things like that.
Because that's the thing I look forward to. Like my goal is within 2 to 3 years to be able to sponsor Rock the Block, which is a local thing they do here downtown. They close off several blocks of downtown. They have food trucks come in, and
Hmm.
they have live music all day for like 3 days, and it's kind of a big like get together for the town. And I would
Oh,
love
wow.
to book some artists that actually like people care to see.
Yeah.
I
Right.
mean, not that there's anything wrong with the local artists. Like I think the
Right.
local artist should have a spot on that
Of
stage,
course.
but should you know uh,
A local artist.
should Mr. Peter Piper with the fiddling
Yeah.
wet liquors be the headline of the show? I don't know.
A show where a bunch of people are like planning on coming, and it's like a big
Right.
family event for a lot of people. Maybe
Yeah.
these people don't get to do that many things throughout the year, and they kind of plan on doing this rock the block thing.
Well, yeah, especially like
Right.
ranchers and stuff who are just like they
They
can't
can't.
like
Yeah.
So
leave
you
their
can kind
farm and
of
stuff.
bring it to them and
Yeah.
be that middleman to connect. That would be
Yeah.
Yep.
really cool. I hope,
Yep.
and I have hope that you guys will be able to do that. That'd be amazing.
I feel like the reaction channel has given us an in to a lot of these artists that like wouldn't normally come to our town and
Yeah.
play.
That's
And we can be
awesome.
like, hey man, like I see you're doing a show in Denver around this time. If you're headed up to Seattle for a show a couple days later, you might as well stop. You got to drive through anyway.
It's a long drive.
Well,
And
and
then,
that's even
we'll get
more views for them and more
Yeah.
trying
more
to think of
merch
the word.
sold, more
Yeah,
I
like
mean,
that's a win-win for everybody. So that's awesome. You guys can be
Yeah,
the
so
the connection to other artists in your town, and I'm sure the
And then we
locals
have
would appreciate that.
Exactly. And then we have the availability to record bands. We have the availability to
Yeah.
shoot music videos. We can do music video production. We can do editing, all that stuff here, mixing, mastering, everything. So,
currently the situation is every band's going to Denver. And
Hmm.
I'm like, that
and it's
that's
expensive
cool.
here too. Like
Like,
it's really expensive in
Oh, I
Denver
Yeah.
to
believe it.
record.
I mean,
Wow.
for a song, you're probably gonna pay close to $1,000 to just record, mix, and master one song,
Mhm.
and that doesn't include a video.
That's just in the studio too. That
Yeah.
doesn't count what it takes to get there and get back.
Wow.
Plus, you're probably going to be there multiple nights because it's a
Yeah.
studio session. So, like, yeah,
Hotels and everything. Wow.
exactly. Yep.
Yeah,
Yep.
so like we just want to spot that, like, even if a guy has to drive from Cody, which is still a 3-hour deal,
Mhm.
I mean, he doesn't have to pay Denver prices.
Yeah.
To come in
Right.
and record. So,
And get a
Wow.
high quality product. for
yeah,
sure.
Wow. That sounds like it just sounds like a win-win for everybody.
We
You
have
guys
a
are like
lot
the
in the works,
one-stop
so-
shop. Yeah.
Yep. Exactly.
That's
Yep.
freaking awesome. So I always love asking people this question. Chris, I'm sure I've probably asked you before. We've talked about it multiple times, but especially I want to hear Matt's opinion. Why do you think that people like reactions?
Oh, wow.
Mm,
That's
gotcha.
a really interesting question because I don't watch a lot of reactions myself, so it's kind of like I watch a
Is
few
it just
reactors,
because
obviously, but
is that purely because that's work for you, like you're a reactor, so you don't do it, or is it just because that doesn't necessarily pique your interest?
wow,
Sorry,
never thought about
I'm
it that
fully
way, but maybe it is.
curious.
Maybe it's just because I do so much work doing reactions constantly with Chris that, I just don't think to do it in my off time. I have, my certain channels that I watch. Adam Savage from Mythbusters, he's like on top of my list. I watch him all the time. He's amazing. I don't know why or what
love
about
Adam.
him.
him and Glenn Fricker, I see.
Glenn
quite
Fricker, I watch him
often,
all the
yeah.
time. He runs a recording studio up in Canada, and he's just like this abrasive, like unabashed, just kind of old heavy metal school badass.
Yeah,
Like he's just a cool
he's
dude.
got an opinion, and you gotta know.
I think I don't know. I think more than the video itself, I think the video itself is what draws people into the reaction. And then through watching the video and watching the person react, people kind of start to build relationships with the people they're watching, right? So like it's a weird way to kind of start relating to people
Yeah.
that are like in a different area than you, right?
Well, especially if it's
through
like
music
their
or-
favorite band or their favorite song, like
Yeah, exactly.
wow.
Through some sort of relatable content, you can kind of make connections with these people on the screen. And like, I watch this dude Chris Ramsey, who ironically is another Canadian guy, but he like all he does on his channel, he's a magician, but on his channel he
Oh, wow.
solves puzzles. Like he just has these like custom made puzzles sent to him, and he like puts an overhead camera view over his
I
desk
think
and like
I've seen
decorates it.
him. Yeah.
He's amazing. He's like super. I don't know what it is about it, but I love watching his stuff. And he does reactions to like other magicians and things like that. And I watch him all the time. So, but I feel like less than the content he's making, it's more I just like him. He just seems like I would sit down and drink a beer with the guy, and I feel like we could just have a normal conversation, and at the end of the night, shake hands and go about our business. You know what I mean?
Right.
Some sort of relatability level, I think, is for me,
Yeah.
anyways. That's what I get out of it.
I kind of subscribe to like two schools of thought, and there's several. I mean, there's all sorts of different types of people, and they all have their different reasons for coming to a reaction channel. But I feel like part of it is, number one, the world today is so afraid to share an opinion that it's hard for somebody to find somebody else who shares an opinion with them on anything. I mean, it could be politics, it could be music, it could be their favorite car, their what, you know what I mean?
Absolutely.
So when they have somebody who puts themselves out there online and be like, yeah, man, like this band sucks or this band's super good,
which
they're
you
like,
better
"Hey,
be careful with, because those
yeah,
band
right?
fans
You gotta
will
be
come
yeah.
for you.
Yeah.
You better be
Oh, yeah.
careful.
So we've had I mean I feel like that's part of it, but the other part of it too is, how many times have you discovered a new song and wanted to show it to your friend, and they listen to about the first 30 seconds and then they start talking about something else and then you never get through it, right?
Yeah.
So
And you're just like,
as a
"Aw."
reactor, you're kind of that friend that people go, hey, like there's this cool song, I love it, you got to check it out, and you get to sit there and share that experience of somebody watching it for the first time or listening to the song for the first time that you just fell in love with recently. And so it's one of those things, like, that's their job, is to listen to it.
Yeah.
And
Kinda
they're
like
going to do that job, and they're going to
joy.
make yeah.
Yeah.
So I feel like that's the other half of it, but I feel like a big majority of it, and I think a lot of it is subconscious, and a lot of people probably disagree with me until they think about it. But like it didn't really reactions didn't really become a big thing until the last 4 to 5
Oh
years.
yeah, it's recent for sure.
And that's
Wow. See, I didn't
mostly
even know
due
it was
to
that long ago. Like I had never heard of reactions until a month into COVID, and that's when I started
yeah.
my channel doing reactions, but I didn't even know they were around that long.
Yeah, I mean, Arctic Kicks has been doing it for almost 10 years now, I
Oh
think,
my
and so is Dad's
gosh.
Black. Like they've
I'm
been
way
doing it
out
a
of
long
it.
time, right?
Wow.
So, but like and all of that changed over the past, I would say over the past 5 to 6 years. People have become less and less willing to share their opinions because
Yeah.
of judgment or whatever,
Boy, I tell you, I was so scared when I started doing YouTube videos, and
hmm
I was so scared to just speak my mind. Like if anybody were to go back to my first even 50 videos and were to watch, you can tell I was being so careful with what I said. I was terrified of PC culture. I was terrified of getting canceled. I was terrified of haters. And then honestly, the catalyst that changed that was listening to Tom McDonald. He
Yeah.
was the
Well,
first
yeah.
artist that I had like even reacted to, or just first artist since the whole PC cancel culture life that I'd heard speaking so real and I had and just unafraid of the outcomes. And I was just like, wow, like if he can say these things as this famous artist and continue to be a famous artist, like I believe like I can say anything I want to, and that's how it should be. Like that's what our
Well, yeah.
freedom of speech
Yeah.
is, and that's being
Exactly.
taken away from us. So like I honestly like I contribute that to Tom McDonald 100% for being able to
Yeah.
speak freely and not be scared of the outcomes.
I even remember a conversation that I had with you. I was like, man, I was watching this Tom McDonald reaction you did, and man, it seemed like you wanted to say something and you didn't. Like, why you holding back? Like, let
I
it
was
out.
so scared, especially with his videos, man. Oh my gosh.
I
And
mean, I don't blame you living in California, like,
oh
because I lived in
yeah.
Spokane, and Spokane's not near as bad. But I mean, I told a story, and I don't remember if it was on Cat's podcast or where it was, but I I had one of Ryan Upchurch's or actually I ended up getting his sweatshirt because of this event. But
Oh cool.
I was in Seattle and we were doing a show there, and the guys were all messing around in some market, and I was like, I need to go get a can of dip. So I drive my truck, just down the block a little ways to a 7-Eleven. I get out, and this guy looks at me and goes, "Oh, so you're like one of those guys." And when I was living in Washington, I would carry a gun with me everywhere
Smart.
because it's just
Dude,
it's wild
Washington
there.
is
Parts of Spokane are crazy.
Washington's scary, man.
Yeah, but Spokane and Seattle are. I mean, you got to watch yourself. And I didn't have a concealed carry permit yet, so I just had it, on my hip, just hanging out. This guy, oh, so you're one of those guys? What do you mean? He's like, oh, so you drive a truck, you carry a gun, you're racist, huh? And he's like, yeah, you're gonna go in there and hassle that
What?
Indian dude. And I'm like,
Whoa.
oh, dude, I'm just in here
Whoa.
trying to get a can of dip, man. Like, I don't know, like,
Oh
what is this?
my
Like, what is this even about?
gosh. That's just
Whoa.
so out of it that you can't
Oh,
even try to
wild.
understand that kind of.
No,
Like
Ridiculous.
carrying a weapon into a store and driving a truck in Wyoming is
Racist. You're racist.
not
in Wyoming, that's just like
Oh,
Wyoming
that's
is
just normal.
commonplace.
Yes,
You see
Wyoming.
that shit. You could literally I mean there's a mini mart 3 blocks from my house. You could probably drive down there right now. There's someone probably down there who's concealed carry or something like
Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
it's just very commonplace here. So yeah, to
Boy.
just have that weird like it's
Oh,
just
my
different places, man, are
Yeah.
crazy. Like,
You're
favorite
telling me I'm
thing-
from California.
yeah.
my favorite thing is when they used to sell AR-15s at Walmart,
Uh-huh.
right? You would buy it and they go, okay, well, you want to take home the box or you just want to carry it out?
Oh,
I'd be like, no,
wow.
man, I'm just carrying it
Just
out.
gonna
You
carry
keep
it
the
out.
box. So you see some dude with an AR-15 just over his shoulder, like walking out of Walmart with his receipt. Like,
Wow. Yeah, we don't see that very much in California. I don't think I've ever
Probably
seen
not.
that. I was gonna say that's pretty wild to me. I don't think I've ever seen that. Wow.
yeah, it's a different. I mean, that's the thing I loved about living different places is just learning the culture and what's normal and what's not, and it's wild. Like even from here to Denver, I mean, Denver's only 4 hours away, and it's God, you feel like
It's culture shock from here to there. It's crazy.
Oh,
yeah, it's wild.
no kidding.
Because Denver's like it's like a like what, I don't know, population of 1 million in the main part of the city or
The
something
main
like that.
part,
So
and then you
yeah.
have the outskirts like Aurora.
So it's like a
and
couple
all
million
that,
or
yeah.
something in Colorado or something like that. And well, actually more than that. I don't know. It's quite a few. And so from
Yeah.
here to Denver, it's a pretty big change because
It
the
is.
entire state of Wyoming has like just under 500,000 people or something like
Oh,
that. So
wow.
and we're like the 7th biggest
Jeez.
state in the country. So
Dang. Yeah. Oh
It's
my
a whole lot of
gosh.
land
there's a
with
lot of
nobody
land out
on it.
here.
Yeah.
Wow. We love a lot of land for sure.
That's right. Yeah, we like our open spaces.
Yeah.
So
That-
go ahead.
I was just gonna say that's the wild thing, and I'm sure you're experiencing this living in Virginia. But like back east, people be like, "Yeah, man, they kind of live out in the country," and I'm like, "Well, I don't know where the country starts and where the city ends because it seems like there's always a house or something." Like in here,
Yeah.
in Casper, it's very evident. Okay, you leave like 15 minutes any direction, okay, and there's nothing. Like you're in the country,
Yep.
okay. There is absolutely
yeah.
not nothing. Like it's
Yes,
all-
I absolutely relate. Especially so I live in the Blue Ridge Mountains. I live in Virginia, and it literally feels like I'm living in a different world. Like I can't
Yeah.
believe grass can be this green all the time, and I'm
Oh, for
from
real.
a very hot, dry desert, Bakersfield,
Mm-hmm.
California, and just the culture shock alone, which is what we were talking
Mm.
about with moving from California to Virginia.
Mm.
It's weird, man, in a good way, but it's just like,
Yeah.
wow, like this is how people live. And
Mm.
it's just like yesterday I was driving out of this shopping center and I see this truck and a bunch of like college kids sitting in the back of the truck. And in California, it's illegal to sit in the back of the truck. Like you will for sure get a ticket, you'll get arrested, whatever. That's a
yeah.
huge no-no. So this truck pulls out and it's a bunch of college kids, and I see this cop pull out in the same area, and I'm like, oh, they're gonna get it. They're so gonna get pulled over. Oh my God. I'm like just waiting for it to go down, and the cop just pulls up next to him and then pulls away, and I'm like, what the heck? Yeah. And then little did I know, I knew one of the girls. I go to church with her, and I saw it on her story, and I was like, dude, like there was a cop next to you guys and you didn't even get pulled over. And she's like, oh girl, it's legal here, you can ride in the back of the truck anywhere. And I was like, oh my gosh, what the heck?
Yeah,
This is not
in
California anymore, Toto.
right. In Wyoming, you're allowed to, but every seatbelt in the vehicle has to be occupied first. So if you have a bench seat with 3 seatbelts and there's 3 people in there and they're fastened in, you can put 20 people in the bed of the truck and it's fine.
You gotta get me a truck, man.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Wow. Yeah, we're definitely not in California anymore, which I'm very, very happy about.
Yeah, as I said, can be a nice thing for sure.
So I had another reaction question from reactor to reactor. How do you combat, which I assume you've gotten hate comments and stuff like that, but like how do you combat people saying like, oh, reactions are just, you're just mooching off the artist, like make your own content. Like how do you feel about that point of view when it comes to people who don't like reactors?
I think out of 500 episodes, we've only had 2 comments that have said something similar to that.
Mm-hmm.
And normally I'm just like, it's not worth my time to reply. Like, thanks for the
Right.
view. Like
One of them that
Yeah.
I remember like in that ballpark was something along the lines of sitting here watching 2 dudes watch a dude watch a reaction to or something like that, and like, and then at the end of it, it was kind of like a more like, what the hell am I doing? I
Right,
shouldn't
kind
be
of
here
more
kind of a
on
thing.
them, not on you guys.
Yeah, like, and then we've had a couple others, but usually, I mean, any hate, me and Chris have come to like a mutual agreement that any hate that we get in our comments now, if we're gonna respond at all, our response is purely thanks for the view. Like,
That's
thanks for the
great.
view.
Yeah,
like,
absolutely.
It doesn't
And
matter
the
what
comment,
you say.
like they're
You
just
watched,
helping.
you viewed, you commented, you added to our analytics. You
They
gave
did
us money.
more
Thank
than
you.
some of
Like,
your subscribers do.
Exactly, like-
like thank you.
So yeah, I mean, it's just one of those things where like, okay, well, I
Yeah.
mean, you're still here. You still took time out to come here and do this thing. So
and
thanks
to
for the
type
feed-
out a comment.
Yeah.
And like that
Right.
that takes thought and effort and like
Well, And to
like,
people who don't necessarily understand reactions, which I sometimes I don't understand the reactions, and I think that's more of a like I don't understand why people watch me necessarily, not necessarily reactions themselves. But I explain it as just like, oh shoot, I'm losing it. You guys take over. I lost my train of thought there for a second. The chat got me messed up.
I mean, there's a type of content out there for everybody, is what it comes down to.
Oh,
And as far as people getting mad at, go ahead.
Thanks. I just totally had a brain moment. But I was saying, as far as people who despise reactions and say like we're mooching off reactors, I like to, if I respond or just talking to other people about reactions, we are bringing new viewers and new audiences to these artists, and a lot of times the artists are very on board with it. Artists reach out to reactors to ask them to make videos about their music. Like, it's an honor thing. Like, it's not right something negative to be seen. Like, yes, we get paid for it, but we're also putting in a ton of work and effort to share these artists and this music and you know, reactions with people. And
when it comes down to it, if you don't believe it, if you think we're mooching off something, ask the artists that we're reacting to.
Yeah,
like
absolutely.
You said, 9 times out of 10, those artists are like, thank God they put me on their channel. I got 1,000 subscribers this month. You know, like,
somebody said something about, oh, it's so nice you can just use somebody else's video.
Yes,
that was one of the hate
I get that
comments.
a ton. Yes,
and it was on a Stephen He video. And Stephen He was literally 2 comments above them saying, oh, I love the reaction. It was good. I was like, yeah, you should ask Stephen He about it.
Like, see what he has to say, dude.
Seriously. Well, yeah, I was just curious, like, how you guys go about those types of people, or just what your response is to, you know, really, what reactions really are.
Yeah, we get them every now and then, and typically me and Chris will like screenshot it if it's during the day, and we'll send it to each other and like
laugh about
like,
it.
do we want to respond to this? Or, yeah, it's mostly that. It's and then it's just like, hey, thanks for the view, you know, like.
Yeah, I like
as
to
far
tell
as talking
them.
shit.
Go ahead.
I was gonna say, as far as talking shit, go ask the artist. They'll tell you.
Yeah, go complain to the artist and see what they say.
Yeah,
my favorite hate response, I'll just say like, I hope you have the day you deserve. That's all I say, and I'm just like, let that be up to you how your day goes. But or I love to say I'm praying for you, which I really do. I pray for the people who bring the, you know, sadness and negativity, because you know they're dealing with stuff. But you know, happy people don't bring other people down. And so, you know, I just tell them, like, I'm praying for you. I hope you have the day you deserve.
Well, and that's the thing, like, man, what a crazy thing. Like, when I don't like a video on YouTube, I absolutely don't take the time to go to the comments and be like, I didn't like this, and here's why.
So
like,
much effort.
I just stop watching because I'll just move on.
Okay, here we go. Let me ask you this, okay? So, remember when we were working on your Subaru, okay? Matt was diving into forums and reviews.
Oh yeah, dude. Oh yeah.
All of this, right? Now here's the weird thing, right? So on our reaction videos anyway, typically out of 100 comments, we'll have maybe 1 or 2 negative ones.
Yeah, usually.
Which is like a pretty good ratio. But when you go and look up a review of a product on Amazon, or you look up a review of a vehicle on Carfax, or you know, CarMax, or whatever the deal may be, or a forum or whatever, you always hear the negative when it comes to that type of review. But why is it so different for a reaction? Like, and I think a lot of it has to do because when somebody buys a product, and I think it has to do with money invested, right? So when somebody buys a product, they expect it to perform a certain way, and when it doesn't, they get upset and they put in the effort to put in a negative comment. But
Cue the Gibson fanboys. Here they come, dude.
Yeah.
Oh boy.
But like, YouTube is free. You can go watch a video, so you have no money invested. If you don't like it, they just like click off and do whatever else. I mean, there's some people who still leave a comment, but like, I've come to that realization where if somebody has money invested into something, and they're more likely to leave a negative comment, even if the product performs exactly like they stated it would. They just didn't know that they were buying that specific product.
Yeah,
wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, I've never even thought about it like that. That's funny.
And a lot of the time, like the way Chris put it, because I was like, you know, I'd always come to him and I'm like, okay, dude, so I was on the forums today, and this guy in the forums,
and I just roll my eyes.
And he's like, one day he kind of just came to me and he was like, look, dude, and he gave me the Amazon kind of like analogy thing, and then he was like, when you have a bad product review, do you go on Amazon and type it in? Do you go review it? And I'm like, no, I don't. And he's like, so when something happens with your Subaru or when something happens with somebody else's vehicle, do you go comment on that forum? And I'm like, no. And he's like, yeah, it's the purest assholes that are in the forum that are telling you to do these things. So stop worrying about it and just just drive your damn car, basically, is what it came down to. And it was like, you know what? At the end of the day, and it's not everybody in a forum is a purist asshole. I'm just saying the ones that I was in, it was like everyone was like, you got to do it by the book and do it this way and go to this guy. And Chris was like, you don't have to do that shit. Listen, just drive the car. It'll be fine. If it breaks, it breaks. That's how life goes, man.
Yeah, exactly. And you just can't please everybody. So that's
just
something
really
I've learned as being a YouTuber and just somebody in general. I'm a people pleaser in general and learning not to be, but that's just something you got to learn, especially if you pursue YouTube, that not everybody's going to like you. And I don't like everybody. Like, why should I expect everyone to like me? I don't like everybody. So, that kind of helps to even out the playing field there.
That's one of those things that has inspired me from Ryan Upchurch. Upchurch doesn't care.
I love that, man.
Like, he is the king of just not giving a shit.
Nope.
Okay, he does not care. He's like, cool, you don't like it, whatever. Okay, you like it, sick, dude. Like, I'm just putting this out because I want to. And we've tried to have that same approach, and I think that's what has got us the amount of success in such a short time that we have got, is just because it's one of those, like, we come into it, we're like, whatever happens, happens. If it works out good, cool. If it works out bad, whatever. Try to get it down on the next one. Like,
well, and I mean, you can put that into just daily life, like if, stuff's going to happen and you got a choice, you can either, let it stress you out and take you down, or you just kind of accept it and kind of roll with the punches. And
yeah, for sure.
Wow. Well, awesome. I'm trying to see
Carly, sorry, we're texting here real quick on a little. I'm sorry, I meant that my time. Okay, not
I don't even
time.
know what time it is for you.
It is currently 5:20. So if 6:30 your time works, that should be just fine.
It's 7:30 here.
Or 7. Where are we at? What am I doing?
Where are you guys?
Where am I? Sorry, 7.
Where am I?
Okay.
Where are you?
Where am I?
Oh my gosh. Well, I think I want to say I had a couple small questions from some viewers that wanted me to ask you guys. Let me bring them up real quick. But wow,
there was a comment that I saw in the chat. It was a great comment. What to see? Right here. Every horror story ends up a review. Boom, right there.
Yeah,
exactly. Buying a pillow is like a deep dive now.
I love that. That's so good. It's so true.
Oh boy, this is a hard one. Slipknot or Korn?
I gotta go Slipknot. Corey Taylor, man.
Yeah,
that guy's got a voice. He's so versatile.
Look, Joey Jordison.
They're not
Corey
gonna
Taylor.
let me come back home because
both in Slipknot.
Oh my gosh. So Korn's from Bakersfield. Korn is from my hometown. So I feel like if I don't say Korn, they're not gonna let me come back. And I used to serve Brian Welch at the coffee shop that I used to work at.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, super nice guy, super dope. He'd come in and have his coffee, and that's cool. But I still have to go with Slipknot. I just love Slipknot.
So listen, Corey Taylor. Okay, one of the things that won me over, like, I liked both bands, but they weren't like top of my list, favorite. But like I saw a video on TikTok of Corey Taylor. He kind of did his own. He was hanging out in a town in between shows on tour, whatever. He just walked into a bar and decided to do an impromptu acoustic set. So he goes in there and he busts out the SpongeBob theme song.
Oh,
and I was like, dude, sold. Like, fan forever. Okay,
right? That's amazing. Wow.
Yeah, I think Slipknot too. Like you said, you got Corey Taylor. You also had rest in peace Joey Jordison, which is like one of the best like metal drummers ever. Essentially,
yeah,
I didn't listen to Slipknot. I didn't listen to Korn. Okay, I wasn't really a metalhead or anything like that. But I do know they both are pretty like legendary metal bands. So like I don't know, but they're both probably great in their own rights. You know,
right?
What I mean?
Yeah.
But if I had to pick one just by name recognition alone, man, and just by what I know from music talent, it's just Joey Jordison and Corey Taylor, man. Slipknot.
Absolutely.
Yeah, they're insane.
Okay, this one I'm just kind of going through some last minute fan questions, or friend questions.
No,
I like to say friends. I don't like fans, but
There you go. Friend
Yeah.
question. That's
Yeah,
better.
friends. So this is from G-Force on Instagram, and it's
Oh, nice.
specifically just for Matt. So Chris, I
Oh,
guess
no.
you don't get to answer this, but
I talk to G-Force occasionally.
okay. He said, Matt, money, no object. What instrument or piece of equipment would you get? Which I'm very curious about this.
That is, oh, that's not even.
Not
Is
even
that just
one,
an
is it?
impossible question?
Whole
It's like
list.
it's like a desert island question, right? Like if you had one thing you could bring it with you, what would it be? I
Oh
think
no.
I think if I could get one piece of gear, no questions asked, no limits, no holds bar, it
Mhm.
would probably be some sort of really, really nice microphone.
Ooh.
I don't know which one, but like probably like a Neumann or like a U47 or something like that. And we're talking like $15,000-$20,000 microphones.
Oh my
Yeah.
gosh.
Only because a microphone can kind of do anything, right? So you can
Wow.
mic a guitar if you need to. You can do vocals with it. You
Mm.
can kind of like
Set it up in a piano.
you could do it on a piano.
whatever,
Yeah, you could set it up for room
Wow.
sounds for anything. So like they're just more versatile. I think if
Very
I had to
versatile.
pick one piece of gear, it would probably be a microphone. I don't know which one, but
Dang.
that would probably be it.
I like solid answer. I'm taking notes here. That is great. And then we actually do have one for Chris from
There you go.
GeForce.
There you go.
This one I'm also very curious about. Favorite and well, you could pick out either if you don't want to answer both, but favorite or least favorite vehicles to work on.
Oh,
I get asked that a lot.
I was gonna say I think I know the
Okay,
answer to
good.
this
Oh
one.
wow. Okay, well Matt, you can answer. No, go ahead, Chris.
So probably my favorite one to work on is got to be a 4-cylinder Honda Civic. Like there's nothing
Okay.
to them.
Wow.
Just super. I mean, any 4-cylinder Honda is, I mean, stupid easy. The parts are cheap.
They're all top-down
Um,
engines too, so there's no like
Yeah,
it's
it's
everything's
nothing
right in front of you.
crazy.
Yeah.
I mean, I can have a motor out of those in like an hour. Like it's really not a big deal. As far as like my favorite vehicle to probably drive, as far as like a practical daily driver, it's got to be a Chevy Silverado.
Okay.
As far as
God
a
damn you.
really nice favorite car, most favorite car I've ever driven was a Shelby GT500.
Ooh.
And that, oh my gosh,
Yeah, I
dude, that
bet.
car is scary.
I bet.
Okay, pain in the ass to work on.
Are you talking like the modern ones that look like the Mustangs, that like the beefed out Mustangs?
Yeah, it was a 2011, I believe.
Yeah,
is
yeah.
what it
Oh,
was.
wow.
But
the
yeah,
dope looking
some
ones,
guy smacked it into a curb, and I ended up
Oh,
replacing
of
control
course.
arms and doing an alignment.
Got to test drive it,
So-
make sure the alignment
Oh,
worked.
that's exactly
Oh,
what I did too. I
jeez.
took that thing right on the freeway. Like, as far as the worst cars to work
I
on,
want to guess. Can I guess?
yeah, I guess. Or
I would guess BMW. No. I take that back. Mercedes Benz or Mini Cooper.
Okay, I want to guess too. I always get crap from mechanics with my car, especially with an oil change because of it's okay, anything Ford, because I feel like Fords, at least with my experience, I always get crap where they're just like, oh, it's so hard, we have to take this apart and do this, and at least with my Escape, everything is just so inconveniently placed. So I'm gonna go with a Ford. Final
I mean,
answer, Steve.
with a Ford Escape, as far as doing an oil change, I mean, sure, they're like, oh, you
got the
got a shield
plate,
you have
yeah.
to take off, and then a
Yep.
plate, and you know, whenever you pull the filter off, it makes a mess everywhere, so you have to clean the front differential off and make sure there's no oil leaks, otherwise the customer
Right,
comes back
right.
complaining and all that. Here's the thing, I've done so many of those, it's not even an issue for me anymore.
Oh.
I'm just like,
Wow.
oh, okay, yep, I got my full can of brake clean on standby. And I just go ahead and rip this thing off, take the filter out, let it all drain, and then go ahead, put a filter in it, spray the whole can of brake clean on this thing,
Jeez.
clean it
Oh
up,
jeez.
and then send it on its way. But my least favorite car to work on is a Mini Cooper.
That's
or-
what Bill said in chat.
Oh!
He
and,
knew
and,
it.
and it's because number one, the motors are built by BMW,
Oh.
so everything is plastic.
That's why I said
everything
BMW
breaks.
first. I was like, I vaguely remember you saying BMW, but
Yeah.
it's because they're
Wow.
built by BMW.
and,
Best
and it's
friend
like
goals.
they took a BMW motor and just stuffed it in something smaller than a go-kart. Like, I
Oh,
mean,
Yeah.
gosh.
my fat hands have no room to move anything. Like, and doing an oil change on those can be a 2-hour ordeal sometimes. Like, I mean, it's kind of a pain.
Yeah.
But yeah, Mini Cooper is probably my top. If I had to put a general, like
Mhm.
anything European is not fun to work on.
Noted.
BMW, Mercedes,
Oh,
Land
so
Rover, Jaguar.
yeah, I was gonna say I was in the ballpark with Mercedes then. Yeah.
Jaguar's not. Now here's the thing about Jaguar. Depending on the year, Jaguars aren't too bad because some of their motors and transmissions were produced by Ford.
Oh, okay.
And now Land Rover, all of Land Rover's motors are produced by Ford. So the Land Rover Range Rover that you see running around has the same motor in it as the Ford Focus ST. It's just a 4-cylinder inline turbo.
No shit.
Yeah.
Nice.
Same motor Logan's got in his car.
Yeah.
So,
Wow,
but
I'm
yeah, I mean,
learning.
those aren't too bad. But yeah, there's a lot of things you run into in the car world where, for instance, the new Toyota Supra that came out, what did they come out in 2020? Those motors are built by BMW. You have to have a BMW tool to program them, not a Toyota tool, a BMW tool.
Crazy.
Like, it's crazy.
Wow, I had no idea. I know now. I feel better having my Ford now. Like, I feel like I always know when I pull up to get my oil changed that they're just gonna be like, dang it, she's got that freaking plate on it, and like I feel bad, and now I feel better. I'm like, you know what? At least it's not a Mini Cooper, dude. You know?
As far as plates go, like undercover plates, every mechanic will complain about a Toyota Tundra because their bolts for their plate, they have a metal skid plate. And the bolts always rust and break off. So a lot of times when they come in, they'll already have 2 of them missing. So there's only 2 bolts holding the thing in anyway. And then you go to pull it out and you break that 3rd one.
Yeah,
and then you got to tell the customer, like, hey, we can either extract these bolts for $50 a hole, which, you know, with 3 holes, there you are at $150.
All of a sudden, that oil change got real expensive.
Or we can just throw the skid plate away, and I would suggest that you just throw it away. Okay,
I'm definitely gonna call you next time I get an oil change because they're always trying to sell me things, and I get it, that's their job, but I'm just like, dude, they're always like, oh, your air filter's nasty, girl, like you gotta change that out, and I'm like, is it though? Like, is it really? And I know I could change my air filter, but I'm gonna have you on speakerphone next time, and I'll be like, all right, Chris, do I need this or not? Like, what do I need? You know, that's awesome.
I mean, as far as like just educating yourself on what you drive and what the regular intervals are, because we run into this with other, like my shop runs into this with other dealers, right? So we have this lady who has a Honda, and we did a timing belt and water pump on it, as well as an air filter and cabin air filter and an oil change. And you know, obviously, if you have the water pump out, you might as well do a radiator flush and all of that stuff. So we went ahead and did all of that, and she took it into Honda for an oil change, and they said that she needed all of it. She's like, well, I just had all that done. They go, no, your car needs it. We checked. Well, they didn't, okay, number one, because they just go off of a chart.
Right.
And the chart says, at this mileage, you need this. Well, that doesn't say anything about the particular vehicle that comes in. The shop I work at, we subscribe to we'll let you know what it needs, regardless of what the table says. If the table says you need spark plugs at 60,000 miles, we're going to look at your spark plugs. If they look okay and you're at 65,000, well, hey, man, we'll just let them go and we'll check them at the next oil change or whatever.
Right.
Because not everybody drives the same. You know, some people put on a ton of freeway miles. Some people are the stop and go traffic. Some people live, you know, 6 blocks from their work, and that's all they drive every week is just
some people get hit left and right, like me. I swear.
Yeah.
I can't go anywhere without getting freaking hit. I've already been hit in Virginia. Like my car, I just got my car out of the shop.
You told me about that. Oh my gosh. I see. That's the thing. I've had, well, I've only been in one accident where I rear-ended a lady because she was, oh my gosh. Anyway, that's a whole thing. But and it was cool being a mechanic because I was like, hey, look, listen, okay, what's your deductible on your insurance? She was like, oh, $1,000. I was like, yeah, mine's about $1,000 too. I said, how about we do this? Forget the $1,000 deductible, okay? You just bring the car to my shop, okay? And I'm going to go ahead and order you a rear bumper for this thing.
Wow.
We're going to slap it on. I'm going to pay for everything. You don't owe a thing. I'll detail it. I'll make sure it's got a good alignment. And we're good to go. And it ended up costing me like $780.
Oh, wow.
Which is better than the $1,000 thing I would have had to pay anyway.
Exactly.
So,
and your insurance would have been jacked too.
Yeah,
for sure.
Wow.
So it comes in handy there. But my car, when I was in high school, I had an epidemic of people hitting my cars when I wasn't around. Like, I'm in at home doing homework, and some dude backs into my car. And
Yes,
I'm like,
that's what
what is
happened
going
to
on
me
around
here. I literally,
Yeah.
I was chilling, doing something in my room, and I get a knock on my door, and my roommate's like, "Hey, Carly, somebody hit your car," and I'm like, "Dude, like." I
Oh
wasn't
my
even
God.
surprised at this point. Like, I just expect it now. I swear, I've been in a car accident like every single year. I've been hit by a car. I was on a motorcycle. My leg's numb. Like, and my car's caught on fire before and blown up. Like, I just have
Wow.
no luck with vehicles, man. And I'm just gonna
Ugh.
walk from now on. Like, I just can't.
Well, you got to get you a Chevy pickup, is what
There
you
you
got.
go.
I would love to have no with these gas prices, but I would love to. All right.
Oh yeah.
Well, I have pretty much a final question for you guys, but
Yes.
for anyone listening and wanting to learn, for anyone who's interested in doing reactions or starting a channel or just making content in general, what is the best piece of advice that you would give somebody who's, curious or wanting to do that?
You want to answer first? Mine's easy.
You know what?
It could be
You
easy.
go ahead.
Yeah.
Start posting. Just start doing it. Like
Yeah.
there's no other way to get it or to start doing it or to get better at it until you
Yeah.
start doing it.
Well,
So
Yes.
you're the only thing that's going to limit yourself. Like, I do that too.
Exactly.
I'm like, dude, stop thinking about it and wondering if it's going to work or that, like, just do it.
those are the two things. Like, start doing it, get some videos made and start putting them up.
And they're gonna be bad.
And
That's fine.
put time
Yeah.
aside for editing. Get ready for editing. Like, those are the two things.
Get ready to
Start
edit your
posting
life
and
away.
get ready to edit because that's what you're going to be
Yes.
doing for a lot of your time.
Oh,
So
yep.
that's pretty much. I
Absolutely.
mean, like,
Before I put in my 2 cents here on that, Aaron says, I don't know, I've had hella problems with my 14 Silverado. Well, that's the thing, you bought 2 new, okay?
Oh,
It has
poor
that active
Aaron.
fuel in it, and you have to do what's called a top engine clean and get that driver's side valve cover replaced. I'm assuming you've had problems with oil consumption, and if it got away from you, you probably ruined a cam.
Oh, Aaron.
So just if you drive, anybody in the chat who drives a 2012 to 13 or newer Chevy Silverado that has active fuel, either find somebody to tune the active fuel off so that way it just doesn't use it. Or if you have an oil burning issue or oil consumption issue, take it to your dealer. They're going to tell you it's not a big deal. And then you're just going to complain and moan until they do something about it. Okay. Like, that's the best thing I can recommend. But yeah, as far as new content creators, I was just talking to, if you guys saw our episode a while back, the Undead, what was it?
The Undead Metalhead.
Undead Metalhead. Yeah.
Derek.
He's got a little sister, and his little sister wants to start doing YouTube, and she's like, well, I don't know what I want to do. I'm like, well, like, what type of content makes you happy? She's like, well, I don't know. And I was like, well, you just need to pick up a camera one day and just film. Just turn it on.
Find
Whatever
something
happens,
you love and then start filming that or turn it into some
Yeah.
form of content.
Yeah,
Yep.
and I was like, whatever happens. If you want to talk about yourself, if you want to talk about your day, if you want to talk, I was like, because there's somebody who's going to watch that. That content's for somebody. And
just
I
gotta
said,
find
what you
them.
need to do is, just like Matt said, just post.
Yep.
Just put it out, and you're going to hate it, and you're going to think it's cringy.
And
But-
it probably is, to be honest.
Yeah.
Your first
I don't watch any of my videos.
Our first few episodes, I haven't watched them since I've watched them a few times when we first posted them, and then I haven't watched them since, and I probably won't because they're probably cringy.
Okay.
Oh yeah, they're pretty bad.
You gotta accept the cringe. Like,
You got to
Yeah.
put it up though. That's the thing. You just got to look at us
Yeah.
now. We're 500 episodes later, and I feel like we have a pretty professional kind of layout going on here now. You
well,
know,
and it's
you have to.
part of the journey. Like, you get to appreciate where you're at now. Like, I will literally look at just my thumbnail comparisons and my whole setup. Like, I started with a webcam on a laptop with no mic, no anything. I used to have to everything was so complicated, and it's just like now I get to appreciate going through that and being cringe to who I've become now.
Yeah,
And
for
like
sure.
my biggest video, I am the cringiest, and like I hate that it's my biggest video. It's got 500,000 views, and I didn't even brush my hair in this video, and I'm just like, gosh dang it, man, like this is the one. But that's fantastic.
Yeah. My mom in the chat, she goes, the Brandon Ferris video on this was awesome.
Yep. Facts.
I'll tell you this, and I can never remember what the video is called, but whenever I want to pull it up, if you go into YouTube and just type in how to YouTube, Brandon Ferris.
How
It'll
to
come up.
YouTube. I
How
love
to
that.
YouTube. But he talks about, he's like, look, man, you gotta turn the camera on, you gotta film something. He's like, nobody's gonna watch it, and you just have to be okay with
Yeah,
that.
you have to tell yourself like no one's gonna watch this for a long time.
And you have to be okay with the fact that it's not gonna look good. He goes, but you keep doing that every day or 3 times a week, and you continue to do that, you'll start to learn things about, oh, well, maybe if I turn this light on, like the video will look better, or if I find something that I'm knowledgeable about, I have less trouble speaking on the subject and I don't stutter as much, or whatever the case
you
may
just
be.
start experimenting.
But
And
I mean, it's just like working out. I mean, if you don't work out every day and then you go back into the gym expecting to lift what you lifted a year ago,
right.
well, you're not going to be able to do it. So it's just like anything else. Like
It's
you practice
practice.
a guitar,
You have to practice, man.
Yeah,
Yeah.
consistent. I think consistency is the number one thing when it comes to content. Like, and it doesn't matter what you're posting. Obviously, if you enjoy it, that makes a huge difference. And if it's entertaining, but I swear, when anyone asks me, I'm like, it is all about consistency.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
And we've even had, like, when we have guests on episodes and stuff, we'll film it, and then once we get done, the guests that we have on will be like, man, you guys have a really good way of like keeping the energy and like kind of have these little cadences that you do. And it's like, yeah, because we've done it literally 500 times.
Yes,
Like,
every
so
day.
you literally get into this motion of like, okay, this is kind of how this works now, so we know what to do. So it's
Right.
it's cool to see the progress. It's really it's awesome to see the progress in ourselves for
It
sure.
is.
Yeah.
But it's like you said, it all starts with getting that content out there, just starting to do it.
Yep.
Yeah.
You just gotta do it. Just do it.
With the way iPhones are now, no one has any excuse, man. The
Oh,
new
no.
iPhone cameras are
No.
insane. They're better than our GoPro that we're using. It's
I mean,
crazy.
Jessie B put out several music videos on her iPhone 13.
Yeah.
Like, and they look great.
They look
Well,
awesome, yeah.
And you don't need to have like people have told me, they're like, oh, but I don't have like that a DSLR camera and I don't have a mic, and I'm just like, neither did I. Like, you do not have to have the most expensive and up to date, and you don't even need to have all the equipment. Like, just start doing it and get into a routine and consistent, and that will come later on. Like, it's
Yep,
you
yeah,
don't
absolutely.
need, that's just an excuse in my opinion. Like, you can
Yeah,
you
and-
can do it.
And the great thing about it is this, especially if you're going for YouTube, you'll have other content creators. Well, this could be a good or a bad thing. You have other content creators reach out to you, and some of them will tell you, they'll give you that kind of backhanded compliment, like, "Yeah, man, your camera looks good for a beginner." And you're like,
You're like, "Oh,
"Okay, well,
thanks.
thanks. Yeah, I'm a beginner. Like, thanks."
I know what I
Uh,
am, thanks.
But then you have other people who come along, and I mean, we've had people help our channel before, you know.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, Hillbilly Reacts has done a lot to help me understand how to dispute copyrights, and I've been able to take that information, and I've helped you out. I've helped
Yeah, well, like I
several other channels,
and I feel like people deserve to, like, because of you, I feel like you literally single-handedly saved my YouTube channel, because very
And
quickly, go ahead.
Oh, no, go ahead.
Very quickly, back in December, I was ready to quit YouTube. I wasn't making money from it. I was working another job almost full time. Like, it just was not working. And Chris reached out to me and he helped me and taught me about how to fight the copyright claims. And a month later, I was able to quit my job and do this full time. So, like, I really, like, from the bottom of my heart, thank you for being another creator that's open to helping, well, and just a good person in general, but like for willingly helping another creator. And literally, I think you saved my channel.
And honestly, I feel like a lot of that credit, even past us or Chris, is due to Hillbilly Reacts. He was the
Wow.
guy that reached out and was like, "Hey, I've got this little copyright disclaimer thing you can put at the end of your videos."
Wow.
Kind of walked us through the dispute thing a little bit, and like,
He's
and then
just out
we
there
kinda,
saving YouTube channels,
dude,
man.
we were like, yeah, like we owe a lot to
Well,
him just for that thing. You know?
And the crazy thing is he's told me, he's like, well, you share this information with channels who deserve it.
Wow.
And I'm like, look,
Aw.
if anybody's willing to just listen to my advice, then cool.
Oh.
If they take it, cool. If they leave it, cool. Like, it
That
doesn't matter to me.
day-
I've had
When you told me about the how to fight the copyright claims, I went and disputed probably 50 plus videos. As after we stopped talking, I was like, oh my gosh, this is life-changing advice. And it really was. And
It is, yeah, it absolutely is for sure.
I mean, I've had some channels that I reached out to. They made a video talking about blah 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 blah, And I've even had other content creators say, hey man, my buddy who has this channel with 200 some thousand subscribers is thinking about quitting YouTube because he's getting copyright claims, this,
Jeez.
that, and the other. And so I reach out to him. I'm like, hey, I hear you're having this
Don't
issue.
do
It's like,
that.
I can help you out. There's certain things that I see on your channel that you probably just shouldn't react. I'm sorry, but you shouldn't be reacting to the whole Dark Knight movie. Okay, like
What?
you're
Oh,
bound
yeah.
for a copyright claim.
Come
You know what I
on.
mean?
Yeah.
If not a block. Like I was like, look, you got to be smart with what you're doing.
Yeah.
I said, but on the ones you can dispute, this is what you can use. And the response I got was, well, I'm not taking advice from people with less subscribers than me. And it's like, okay, that's cool.
Wow.
That's
Like,
cool.
whatever, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, with
Like,
that mentality, like good luck succeeding on that. Like we're a
Yeah.
community. Like you gotta
Mm.
be able to help each other and accept help from
Mm.
others. Like that just shows what kind of person they are. Like
Yeah.
subscribers are. It just does not value a person. Like
Oh,
your
Yeah,
amount
not
of
at all.
followers is not.
And-
That's crazy.
and that's the thing. Me and Matt have talked about this. There's so many reactors that come on like, oh, first time hearing AC/DC Thunderstruck. And I'm like, no, dude,
Bullshit.
Everybody's heard that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
Like that's all like but the thing is they do it for the views and
Right.
everybody knows it.
Right.
They don't want to acknowledge it, but they know it.
hmm
But like what are those views worth?
If
I
you're
mean,
getting copyright claimed on it, or if you're getting blocked on it, and then you have to fight it to get it unblocked, and it's still
Yeah.
copyright claimed, you definitely didn't make money, and all you did was
and
put
you
yourself
didn't get your views you wanted.
put yourself on the
Yeah.
radar for YouTube. Now they're watching your channel and like
Yeah.
waiting for the next block. Like terrible.
I'm being told
Yeah.
that person is not on YouTube anymore.
They sure are. They are sure. They have disappeared into the ether.
Oh really?
Wow.
Their
Oh.
channel is no longer.
Wow. Well,
Weird,
there you
because they were
go.
reacting to 2-hour-long movies made by
Yeah.
Warner Brothers. I wonder
Weird.
why that happened.
There you go. It answered itself. All right. I have probably the most important question, and then we will wrap this up. It's pretty intense, so be prepared. Whose idea was it to have Matt be the mom instead of Chris in this promo? Whose idea was it to bring the mom, Matt as the mom, and I need to understand this line of thinking.
It was a joint venture, I would say, because Chris initially had the skit idea for asking the mom thing, right?
Yeah. So here's what happened. Carly hit me up. She's like, "Hey, what do you think about doing a skit to promote it?" And I was like, "Dude, that sounds dope. We should do that." And so I think she said something about, oh, like we could ask our moms or something. I was like, yeah, I'll figure something out. She goes, well, just send me your video and then I'll figure out what to do with it after that. And so I was like, okay, Matt, you remember when you were a kid, okay, and you had to go over, or you wanted to go over to your friend's house and you had that conversation of, yeah, man, well, if your mom asked my mom, like, she'll for sure say yes. And then that was always an
Right.
issue or whatever. I said, here's what we're going to do. Okay. Me and Carly are going to have this conversation about, okay, well, I'm going to bring that little kid out in me from years when I was 5 or 6. If your mom asked my mom, she's going to be like, nah, dude, like, you have to ask your mom. I was like, okay. And I was like, and you're going to be mom. And he's like, dude, I am so in.
I was
That
ready.
was the
And
greatest. I wish you guys could have seen. I should have reacted to that, honestly. Like, I was crying, laughing, and I still, every time I watch it, it just makes me laugh so hard. That is some quality content right there.
It's
For,
a- it's a good
Stephen
clip.
He, more like Matt and Chris, for sure.
yeah, so it was Chris's idea to bring in the mom character, and then it was kind of my idea to like do the whole full-on towel. You can see the shorts
That
and
was
like do
amazing.
the headdress.
The
and all that
shorts
stuff,
were,
yeah.
yes, those were key.
It
You
was
make a
fun.
very pretty mom, Matt. for
Thank you. I
sure.
did my
Yeah.
best. I put on my
Yeah,
best mom face.
Aaron's pulling for your heart.
I know. I saw
okay?
that. Yeah.
Yeah, X-Order's pulling for Matt pretty hard there.
Oh my gosh, wow.
Yeah, that was probably and we did that. That was our first take and our only take we did.
Amazing.
And I was like, this stinks.
It's like what's funny is Chris's mom's actually here now.
Right?
Yes, I told her I was gonna get her a shaver for Christmas, but
That's
I don't,
right,
I
yeah,
don't
I
think
saw
she'll
that
need it. Oh my gosh, wow. Well, we'll go ahead and wrap things up. I don't want to keep you guys, especially when you got your thumbnail and your Stephen He reaction. I'm very eager
Oh,
to
that's right. I
watch
forgot I
that.
pulled that. Yeah, yep, it's coming.
But I just want to
Yeah,
thank you guys so much for taking the time to come and hang out with me and be my very first guest on the podcast. Like, this is a huge
Yeah, it's our
moment
pleasure.
for me, at least, and I appreciate you guys so much. Just even in general as people and in the reactor community, and I just appreciate you guys and all of the subs and over here at SHEA What Now. Love you guys, and definitely if you guys have not checked out 307 Reacts, go over to YouTube, check them out. And I also plug their Instagrams and their channel down in the comments, so you can go be stalkers, go stalk them a little bit, you know.
Yeah.
Nice.
Prepare to be delightfully disappointed.
No.
It's delightfully though, so it's all good.
And if you need a mechanic, you can reach out to Chris now, or call him during your oil changes. But
There you go.
Yeah, right.
all right, well, thank you guys so much. I'm gonna go ahead and wrap up the stream. Thank you to everybody who's here with us watching live, and if you've just listened to this entire podcast, wow, thank you. I'm glad you guys stuck on for so long. But thank you to everybody in chat, and thank you to everybody for supporting the first episode.